Is SEO dead, or is GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, the new foundation for digital visibility? Everyone's talking about GEO right now as the holy grail, but as far as I can see, most of the GEO experts are just talking about SEO tips we already heard before. So that's why I'm sitting down today with my colleague Stefan, also from Deconium Data. Please introduce yourself.
Hi Toni, nice to sit here with you today. I'm Stefan. I've been working a lot in digital marketing, focusing on search engine optimization. Now I'm a consultant growth at Deconium Data, and I also do a lot for Applied Data, which is our communication platform for tech content and our data products, and we also do a lot of events. So yeah. Let's talk about SEO and GEO today.
So let's start with SEO. Why is almost everyone declaring SEO as dead every time a new technology steps in?
Yeah, that's funny. Actually, I don't know why that is the case, but I don't know, from the very beginning of SEO, that was kind of spammy or recognized as spammy, or sometimes it was spammy. I won't doubt that. So maybe, yeah, people tend to want to see SEO dead, and whenever changes happen that are so big that the public talks about it, people tend to say SEO is dead, but it's not dead, it's just changing. But it will always be important how web search experience leads to websites or informations. So SEO or GEO or however you call it will always be important, and the dark days of spammy SEO are over. So,
I mean, the principles of SEO changed over the time. Sometimes there came new up and old were shut down. What do you think, which SEO principle is still very important right now in times of GEO?
Yeah, so this whole topic of generative AI-based web search is pretty new, and it's a huge difference to what we saw before. But also techniques still apply that applied before too. First thing would be accessibility. Everything that we know as technical SEO still is important, because it is about to make content available so that machines can understand what it's about and what is important, and they can access that. And only if they can pick the results and show it in other ways of content. So this still applies. The second thing would be the whole principle that SEOs know as EEAT from Google. This is experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And this whole concept of brand building still applies to be a legit source for AI answers or overviews or whatever. And third thing would be, to me, to make content for the users, to solve actual problems that users have, and not just write anything to be visible for anything. That doesn't make any sense anymore. But doing good content with a user focus is still important.
Mm-hmm. So SEO was a lot about links and getting linked. And GEO is more about getting cited by AI, for example, by Perplexity, when it gives you an answer and has like 6 to 8 sources often. So what would you say, how can we improve a text to get more likely cited by AI?
Yeah, okay. Concerning links, yeah, this link building stuff has a long history and has been spammy back in the days as well. but also in classic SEO about the 10 blue links at Google, it evolved into more like maybe digital public relations or something like that. So it's not about get as much links as possible wherever you can get any links. That is spammy, and we don't want to do that anymore. So it's about real brand building and having links to your site there where it makes sense in topical context and from trustworthy sources. And that still applies for Gen AI, because Gen AI somehow has to manage, is this source trustworthy, has it authority? And that is also working with one part with links. So this is still important. And also there's content-wise maybe a change that we see that we really get this user focus in stating short summaries that give an exact answer to the question a user might have. So those things are important.
Okay. So let's get a bit more practical. We also have our own website. And can you share some insights with me? What changed over the last maybe 6 months or 12 months since GEO is getting a thing?
Yeah, actually, it's more short term, at least in Germany. So, but starting this year, maybe. So it's 6 months. Okay, let's do it like that. So Google introduced these AIOs, AI overviews, where users get the answer to their question or search term they have directly in the Google universe. And that strongly leads to a direction where even if we are growing in classical SEO terms, like the impressions go up, we see that in Google Search Console. At the same time, clicks go down. So people get their answers directly in Google, and this is a huge difference. And business models who are strongly dependent on clicks are, they might think about what the future brings. So affiliation or content aggregation models might reflect their business model. What does it mean for us? We see that, and this might lead to a change where we more focus on impressions or other visibility metrics to do our optimization, and a bit less on the metric of clicks or click-related metrics.
So it could affect a change in the KPIs?
Yeah, I really think so.
Okay. And what is your own technique, or what's the first thing you approach when making our website more GEO-friendly or ready for GEO?
Yeah. So on the one hand, the principle I mentioned before, they still apply. And that's not a huge difference to what we did before. And since this is a very new thing, we have to test and experience what happens. And small actions or tactics that we do, they might change, but I can't give details here because we are testing for ourselves. But the one thing of having this short summary content, this is really a big thing that we can see right now, because these AI generation models, they like to give citations from exactly these parts of the site. So if you have long content on your page and you don't have this summary answer the user questions very short on the point, you should think about including sections like these. So the possibility of getting citation by AI systems will be much higher.
I mean, that's a lot of input for now. So if there's someone sitting and just diving into the topic of SEO, now reading GEO, SEO is dead, what's about the hype? What's your very own advice when someone just wants to start or wants to improve his or her, for example, small business website?
Yeah, as it always has been the most important thing is to be curious about it and to be really wanting to dive deeply into it, because it's a really big field. And if you just go there for the hype and I want to do that now, but you're not really interested to go deep into the topic, then you might don't want to start at the first place. So be curious, read the sources that you can find, follow the conversation that goes on. So I did a lot of blog reading, because SEOs traditionally are very good with sharing their knowledge. And on the other hand, it's not about only learning by videos, blogs, whatever you want to do. It's also about doing stuff for yourself. So I would really recommend building your own domain, setting things up, and that's preferably in a niche context where you can tackle long tail things and you don't have the competition of very commercial things, so that you can try out and probably see results more faster than if you are in a competitive area.
Okay, so thanks. Thanks for being here. We hope we could answer at least a few questions. It's a very complex topic. There's no easy yes or no answers to this, but we are excited where the whole GEO thing evolves. And yes, see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.